Welcome to the Throttle Up Leadership Podcast. Our theme for 2025 is the future of work. Meaning is the new money. In a world shaped by rapid innovation and constant change, the pursuit of purpose and impact has never been more important. I'm Dr. John Dentico, your host, bringing over 30 years of experience in leadership, strategic thinking, and purpose-driven innovation. Here, we tackle the pressing challenges of our time, from the rise of artificial intelligence to the growing need for meaning in the workplace. Together, we'll uncover how leaders can ethically integrate AI to enhance decision-making and keep humanity at the heart of their organizations. Remember, amidst all the technological advancements, in the end, it's always about the people. This podcast is your resource for actionable tools, thought-provoking discussions, and inspiring stories. It's time to go beyond leadership development and focus on leadership impact, creating workplaces where people thrive, innovation flourishes, and meaning truly becomes the new currency. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Now, let's throttle up and dive into today's episode. Hello again, and welcome to the Throttle Up Leadership Podcast for 2025. I am your host, Dr. John Dentico. With me today is Suzan Peltekian. Suzan is a super passionate lover of her fellow humans and the process of personal transformation. She's a peak performance coach and global speaker whose dream and purpose is to raise the consciousness of humans one human soul at a time. She believes the biggest real estate that everyone owns is the one between their two ears, and her goal is to inspire people to create their life by design by using their minds more effectively. I am very pleased to have her here with me today. Welcome, Suzan. How are you?
Dr. Dentico, thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here with you and with our audience and to make a massive difference for them. Thank you so much.
Great. And please just call me John. I only use the title doctor on two occasions. One is when I'm putting in proposals for speaking, and the other one is when I'm making dinner reservations. You get a good table every time, let me tell you. In any case, and by the way, happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you. And it's so happy because I get to be here as well and to make a difference. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. So let's get rolling, as I like to say. Suzan, why don't I begin by asking you to tell me a bit about you? Where did you grow up, and what, in your mind, were some of the fundamental influences in your life?
Great question, John. Thank you so much. I would say growing up, the number one game changer has been my dad. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, and I've always wanted to do what I do right now, to be of service to our mankind, and I never believed in myself. And till this day, John, he's the one person who has always believed in me, and thanks to him, we get to be here.
Great. I know you spent a great deal of time in the world of real estate. What inspired you, and I may be a little bit redundant here, but what inspired you to make the change to a life or mindset coach?
Not redundant at all. And it's really part of my story. I've done a lot of things also in addition to real estate. But the fact that I did real estate, although I enjoyed it and I loved serving my clients, was for the same reason that I didn't believe in myself. And I didn't really know who I was, John, which is a lot of what I get to share with our one world right now. And that was the main reason that I think I had a path of various jobs and various business or being in different things like real estate and mortgages, because I didn't believe in myself. So I was just looking for the solution outside, not knowing that the solution is always within.
Great answer. And what I have to ask you, because of what you just said, what was the moment like? What was the catalyst where you, in a sense, you flipped the switch to take you to where you are today?
I was asked this question the other day. It was the first time. So you're the second. It's the first time we're doing this live. It was not on a podcast, and I said there wasn't one specific thing. In what I share with the world, John, it's the law of attraction, mindset, really getting to know who we are. We keep attracting people, places, and circumstances that show us what's going on inside, because I teach a lot about the conscious and subconscious mind, if you will. Outwardly, I seemed very confident. I seemed as bubbly as I am right now. I seemed very positive, but it was a lot of toxic positivity, if you will, until I did the work, right? And it was people that I kept attracting in places and circumstances that got me present to the fact that, hey, there's stuff in there in your subconscious that you're not even aware of. And one of my favorite mentors, I don't know if you're familiar with him, is Bob Proctor. He was in the movie The Secret. He passed away 3 years ago this time. He would say that the only difference between each one of us is awareness. And I didn't understand what he even meant by that. And now that I get it, not here in the conscious, because everyone tuning in is super smart, super intelligent. They're going to get us on the conscious level. That's 2 to 5% of our results and what's driving the show. But to get in our heart of hearts, to get in the body and the subconscious mind, which is the 95 to 98% of our results, and right? So I got, not here, but here in my heart of hearts, who I was, and that awareness was all there was. I started doing more and more work, but it took years of the inner work to finally say, okay, I'm making the decision. But if I had to pin it to one moment in time, it was right before COVID. So it's actually exactly 5 years ago, sometime this week, that I made one decision, but I had no knowingness of what the results would be, other than, of course, I would thrive, but not in the way that I have, thankfully. I made one decision that I would retire from real estate. I didn't know what that even meant at the time, and it was this #1 Remax worldwide, bless them infinitely, exceptional souls that are all about service. The owner and his son filled up all of my coaching spots during COVID, because I had just made a decision that this isn't how I want to serve. I'm aching, I'm not being used up, and I really need to get out there and really serve with passion and purpose, which is what I teach.
Yeah, it's great. I think COVID. There's no doubt that COVID had a worldwide effect on people, and I'm not just necessarily talking about their health. I'm talking about their souls, their sense of purpose in life, where they wanted to go. Is this all there is? All those questions come up. So I understand that. I get that. And now we're living in this world where we're still in the residue of COVID, if you will, the aftermath of COVID. And added on to that, of course, now is the revolution in artificial intelligence. So a lot of this now is just, it's unbelievable. How changed. It's so rapid, the change. It's so incredible. And I tell people, I say, you're not going to believe this, but I've been waiting 30 years for this moment in time. Because I was with a group of people 30 years ago. We were really engaged in looking into the future of leadership. What's leadership got to look like in the future? It's not going to look like it looks today. In many respects, I've waited for this change, because I think the ideas that I've had over the course of the last 30 years have now come to the fore. They're on the table, and it's going to be interesting to see how it works itself out. But anyway, let me get on to the next question if I can. So let me ask you this. If you had to characterize the kinds of issues people have when they come to you for help, okay, are there two or three that stand out in your mind, the ones that are repetitive and keep coming up? What kind of issues do people bring you as a mindset life coach?
This one I haven't been asked. This is fantastic, John. Thank you. So the main reason they normally come is to earn more, to use the law of attraction to earn more. And earning money is a byproduct of who we're being. There's infinite supply. There's an abundance of money once we get to know who we are. I think the reason they come, John, is not the reason they think they're coming for, if that makes any sense. I love what you mentioned there about COVID. although I do really believe we're still dealing with the aftermath and the effects, it created a lot of awakening in people. They're like, is that all there is? And I love your theme for this year's particularly. I think I mentioned that in an email to you. It's meaning being the new money, right? And the new currency. I love that because people are actually now hungered to look for, is this all there is? Like I go to work and then I come back home and I teach people to get into excited and curious about themselves to know who they truly are so that they can actually create by design because they're already co-creators. So to answer your question, they come to manifest money, if you will. And what they get is so much more. For example, I don't plan on becoming a mother. So many moms and dads have become better parents. They're way happier. The side effects of doing the work, right? And we know with the law of attraction, joy is the key. When you feel good, you will actually attract all that which you want. Furthermore, and you're more fun to be around. Furthermore, what is the other way than to live life and to have fun today? Because this is truly what we have is the gift of today. They come to earn money, I find, but really it's stickly because I'm all about holistic. They become better in all areas, and the basis of the work I have the deepest privilege to do with them, John, is Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you wish to see in the world. So we're working on their beingness. And once we do, that's it. It's Michelangelo's David. Isn't David? It's John Dentico. It is Nikki Billou. I hope I didn't slaughter his name. It is Sam Smith, Suzan Peltekian. Once we understand that who we are is a limitless soul, and now it's not about running after the money. It's about removing the layers of who we're not. And so it's a lot of unbecoming, then, well, everything we want. The same way we are super powerful manifestors, we were manifesting the lack. There is no lack. Lack is a man-made concept. All there is abundance. Abundance is our divine birthright. Now, all of a sudden, when they remove that, they're unleashed. They're now attracting to themselves people, places, and circumstances that are in vibrational harmony with who they truly are, their true authentic selves. I hope that resonates.
No, that makes, I'll tell you, it makes great sense. I had Nikki Billou on from eCircle Academy, his startup, and you and he are on the same plane because Nikki said his father taught him that it's not a numbers game. It's all about people. And once you understand that, as you say, once you get to the inner part of that sensibility, that, you know what, I'm here to do what I can to help humanity or help people.
Yeah.
That's what I think. My mission statement says, my job is to help people live a more productive, prosperous, and meaningful life.
Amen.
So the whole idea is that you do that and the numbers eventually will come your way because people want that. I was just thinking when you were talking, one of the things I do every once in a while, very covertly, by the way, quietly, is look at the faces of people in the supermarket. So when I walk into a supermarket, looking around, and I ask myself, who's living a good life? Who's happy? And who's not? Because it's right there. It's right there on their face. So it's very interesting to me that, and you know what? People don't want to be around sad people or people who see the negative side of everything. Believe me, I can tell you. But they want to see how much they want to be engaged in a much more positive look at life. So I get exactly what you're talking about. Let me ask you this, Suzan, if I can.
Of course.
Tell me about this in a little bit more detail, if you will, the services you offer to clients. What is it that you do?
Absolutely. And if I may,
you could,
sorry, go on.
To help people live a more meaningful life. Let me ask it that way.
Thank you, John. I didn't comment. I wanted to thank you for your services. And I loved that podcast with Nikki. It was dated yesterday. I just got to see it today. I don't know if that was, and I loved it. And I saw a lot of similarities as well. And it truly is about service because without service, there's nothing. You create all the millions or billions or trillions or whatever the amount is, fill in the blank. If the inside is empty, There's just nothing else. And then once you actually get to know who you truly are, and you have that deep love, because he mentioned the word service. For me, service and love are one of the same. I believe who you are is pure divine love. You're pure liquid love. You're a walking miracle. That is who everyone is. We are all one. And I am so excited to be here to share this, because service and love are one of the same. When if we are aware of that, back to awareness, then we can actually serve our mankind, and we don't make it about ourselves. Then like attracts like in the law of attraction. If you're serving, that you've been nothing but of service, by the way, you're now attracting people that want to do the same and want to be the same. Does that resonate 100%?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I absolutely. Yeah, you're going to be around. People will be attracted to the energy
Yes.
that you have,
Yes.
and good or bad. I mean, there are people who are attracted to the bad energy too. I suspect, but there are people who, and that's okay. That's their thing.
Yes.
Provided they don't do anything to harm others. There are people who live in a constant state of sadness, I'm sure, and you have to. And the thing I've learned in my life is there's nothing I can do necessarily to get them out of sadness unless they make the commitment to do it themselves.
Yeah.
They've got to get themselves out.
Yeah.
And you can't make someone happy. You cannot make someone happy, no matter how hard you try. Believe me, I've been down that road, and it just doesn't work. So you just really have to understand that it's up to an individual to choose what path they want to travel. So I agree with you. I am curious to know your perspective on leadership. I know in the workup to this, you had mentioned that, and of course, it's my bag, as they say. How do you see the intersection of leadership and mindset?
I love it, and I'm in 100% alignment with Nikki that leadership is all about serving. What is your mindset? If we're true leaders and we believe that we are love, we are service, then that's our job. And because everything trickles down from leadership, what is the leader's mindset? And am I just pretending to be a leader to get the title? That doesn't make me a leader then, versus no, I'm a servant. I'm a servant of my people. I am here to give. And as long as we have that mindset that we're here to serve, we're here to give our gifts. I think we all have different gifts that it's not only our job, I think it's our duty, our responsibility, and our privilege to serve John this. And that is leadership. And everyone wins in that way. It's all about giving instead of actually looking to see what we can get. So it starts with what are our thoughts about leadership? What is our mindset about leadership? And then from there, I love some of the thoughts that I mentioned to you in the email that you have, but it's mindset, I think, is everything. It all starts with mindset and it trickles from there.
Yeah, I make a differentiation when I talk about leadership in two camps. One is leader development. Okay. And that's where 98% of people who do leadership development spend their time. We're developing a leader. We're giving them training. We're teaching them lots of different things. But in the end, the question is, can they convert that knowledge? Can they convert what they've learned into action? Can they go out and actually do leadership, do something with it? And to me, that's the leadership. That's the practice in action. And more times than not, that's where I live. I live on the practice side. It's like teaching somebody how to play golf,
Yes.
for example.
Yeah.
You can give them books, and you can give them videos, you can give all this kind of stuff. Or you could take them out on a golf course and say, let's go hit the ball. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
And learn through doing in that sense. So I think that, and don't get me wrong, leader development is good. It's excellent. But where I live, I'm concerned about, can we get that person to actually do something with what they've learned? So to me, that is where I separate myself from the rest of the leadership world. I'd love to get your reflection on that.
I love that distinction, John. And I think that is a mindset, what you said, the ladder. And I wasn't clear there. And I had heard you say this on the podcast as well. And I loved it. that is a mindset, because if the leader doesn't see themselves as a leader, let's say they got the title, but they don't, their self-image isn't such, or they have a ceiling on the self-image that they have, which we all do until we keep breaking those ceilings. That, I think, is a huge mindset of actually then now getting on the court and being that leader that you're talking about and doing on the court, swinging full out. Because if whatever their mindset is, if they're stopped or they swing full out, but today, but not tomorrow, what is their subconscious conditioning? It all goes back to that. And I don't know what your view is on that. And then their self-image is, and that is a mindset as well. That is all in their subconscious. I think it all goes down to back to mindset. It starts with mindset and it ends with mindset. And
Yeah, I tell people all the time that one of the most powerful days of my own life was the day I accepted my own humanity. And now you go, I'm just a guy. I'm doing what I can do. I'm doing my best. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to do what I can do. And I can't even begin to tell you what that was like for me. It was transformational for me because it allowed me to lift this millstone, if you will, of perfection from around my neck. You had to do this and be perfect. No, I'm doing the best I can. I'm out there. I'm trying to do it right. I'm trying to get it right.
yes.
But the day you accept your humanity is a day I think you can take a lot of bad stuff or negative stuff away from you. So anyway, so I agree.
I'm writing this down.
Any thoughts?
I just love it. I've never heard someone say that to me. Lots of thoughts. Yes, I'll keep it brief. A spiritual healer taught that to me many years ago, bless her. She said, allow yourself to be human. And I'm like, what is she? Again, the lack of awareness, John. I'm like, and I've never heard anyone say that. I actually teach that. I'm like, guys, give yourself a break. We're all doing the best we can. Most of us, again, through conditioning, and I'm so grateful to hear that you've unleashed, and I'm not surprised, John. We just keep tightening that noose around us. It's already tight with our conditioning, whether it be from parents, bless them. Again, they did their best, no blame. Society, culture, media, mass media, COVID now, like all the changes, it's already a lot. It takes a lot to be a human being. It really takes a lot. And it's a beautiful experience once we master, as you mentioned, what I said, the biggest real estate, the one between our two ears. And you mentioned the word practice for the ladder for leadership. 100%, this is the exact same thing. It's practice accepting our humanity, practice everything else in between, practice mastery of self, practice.
And engage the world. Go out and do it. Engage the world. And you can't wait to be, I always tell people, leadership is a come as you are party. Just come, get involved. And I've mentioned this several times in other podcasts that the leadership model that I started developing over 30 years ago is based on one function, one thing, and that's contribution. It's just contribution. Okay, here's a problem. We have an issue. Who wants to jump in here? Who wants to help us out?
Yes.
You got any thoughts, any ideas? Allow for contribution. When I in a leader role or leadership role, I make no judgments about people in the room. I don't care. I make no judgments about people in the room.
Yeah.
I always tell people I'm a trainer. You put people in a room, I train them. I don't just bring them. And I don't make any judgments about that. Or the only thing I would hope for is participate, be involved, more than participate, involvement, be here. Give me your ideas, give me your thoughts. Let's see if we can work together to find our way to the solution eventually. So that to me is really where the whole practice thing comes into the picture. Let me move along if I can and see if I'm going to get down a little nitty gritty here.
Sure.
Can you outline, if at all possible, the steps? Is there a series of steps that you would advise someone to enable them to change their mindset? Where can a person begin? And that is to say, what is the first step in your mind?
So numbers, wow, I love this question. Number 0 would be to get to know ourselves, that awareness of who we are, the limitless souls, not only a human body, but number one would be so that I can give an actual actionable step that someone can take on right away is getting crystal clear on what we want. That is the number one. John, I'm sure you see it a lot in your line of work. People, I want to invite everyone who's listening in to dream big, but then only once they've really dreamt really big and to dream even bigger. What's possible is anything you want. 3 words. This is what I use on all my free master classes globally. And it's what I had heard at a personal development event. And I'm like, what are they trying to sell me? Anything I want? What are they on? And when I finally got it, because I had the get understanding consciously very distinct as I distinguished it than the getting, I'm like, no, this is the reality. We're co-creators anyway. We're manifesting anyway. We might as well manifest by design versus by default. So that's the one thing I would invite precious souls around the globe to get really crystal clear on what they want, not what their spouse wants, not what their ex told him, not what their children are telling them, not what a teacher in high school or in middle school told them. What do they want? And then to actually write it down and create a life vision with zero considerations of time passed, of money, of what they think they have, what they think they don't have, and repeat that every single day. Now, the subconscious, the drunk monkey is going to play a game. It's going to say this can't happen. Repetition is key. Just like we drive to the office, we don't even know how we got there, or we tie our shoes. We don't have to think about it. It was through repetition. It's just training. It's practice and being gentle. I love how you said that, accepting my humanity about yourself. It's being gentle. And really, so first step I would say is creating, and if that massive vision sounds too out there for whoever is struggling or not or doesn't believe in this yet, is just take a pen and paper and write down things that you want. How do you want to live your life? How do you want to feel? And then there's a caveat, and Bob Proctor would always say the only prerequisite to having it all is knowing what you want, and that's why being aware of what we want, right? And there's a caveat, John, we don't get what we want, we get who we're being. So step 2 would be absolutely, again, pen to paper. What version of myself, because that version exists already. Who do I get to be every day? Because that's how I'm attracting to me to attract that life that I want. Let's say I want a life of freedom and ease and effortless ease, to own my own business and travel the world. What characteristics does that individual have? Like I used to wake up I'm a University of Toronto graduate. I always tell people who join my coaching, I used to have a degree in drinking, used to wake up at noon. Like those ways of being you asked, I shared earlier, it was a path to get here. I want to touch the billions. I've shared that's my vision, right? Those weren't the traits and characteristics of an individual who wants to be a world-class leader and coach and speaker. That's why it took a while, because I had extreme bankrupt ways of being that weren't working, and I've been working on them. So I'm happy to say I don't drink. It's been a couple of years that I don't drink at all, and no judgment to whoever does. It's just not in alignment with my highest self at the moment. So I've chosen not to have the vino, although I enjoyed it. So that's...
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I think that's great advice. I think you really have to take stock in who you are at the moment and where do you want to go. And again, because this is a theme, in 1997, I read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, which had an overwhelming effect on me. And I think you have to go down that road. And I think today in this world, people are looking to go down that road that says, what gives me meaning in life? What matters to me? What do I want to do? And again, to reflect back on Nikki, remember, it's not a numbers game. It's about people. And I even say in my work now, I'm branching out into the AI world, into the ethical aspects of AI. It's, in the end, with all the technological advancements, it's all about the people. Don't ever forget that. And because technology is a beautiful thing, it's very fashionable. It's like looking at bright lights and wonderful colors, like being on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yes.
With artificial intelligence. It's like being out there in the. But you know what? After a while, it gets to be a bit trite. And in the end, you have to find out what gives your soul meaning. And if you stick with it,
Yes.
if you go with that and understand it's not going to be an easy journey, it'll be tough. Now, I always say leadership took a lot from me. I gave a lot to leadership, but it took a lot from me. And at the same time. So you have to be willing to do the work and to make the sacrifices. So again, I think that was really good advice, is to get people to say, okay, I need to sit down and just take the first step. What's the first step? And then eventually you'll come to where the second step is.
Yes.
So I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, John. Likewise for your services. You're just exceptional. Not just, you're exceptional. So you said the third. So the first would be their vision or a list of how they want to live their life, their wants. Second is a list of I am statements of their self-image, also known as identity. Some may have heard it as self-concept. And then repeat the first, rinse and repeat daily, rinse and repeat the second daily. And the third, I would invite everyone to discover, it's not finding, it's not a $10 lost bill, to discover who they are. Because everyone is epic beyond words and measure. And when they do, they can now attract everything they want with ease because they've created what they want. They're being that individual and they have a knowingness of who they are. Not a concept that, hey, I'm my body, or I'm my hair, or I'm my name, or I'm my job, or my title. We're none of that. We're limitless souls that, as you said, I love it. We're here. You didn't say that we're here for a brief moment, but it's a brief moment, and we get to really the one word you used that resonated with me the most is the impact. And earlier you said contribution. That's it. When we all are living in our zone of genius, whatever we're doing doesn't matter. Everyone is serving everyone. And that's our job, and it's the deepest privilege. And what other way is there to live life? Being too busy to checking out my own belly button, which is what I did quite a lot of time. Hence I wasn't a speaker and a coach. Yes?
We're getting close to the end here now. So I'm going to ask you my world famous question. And that is simply this. If you had a magic wand and you could change anything that you see in the world and in the work that you do, what would that be, and why did you choose that?
I chose it because it's very near and dear to my heart. I've experienced it, and I see everyone who I get to meet. 99.999% of the population, John, because of our lack of knowingness of self. I would literally, with my magic wand, invite everyone to get to know their own divinity. How exceptionally magical they are, and magically exceptional, that these aren't just words, also have vibration, but they're not just words. Like I shared with you earlier, how I wanted to become this, I want to touch the billions, I will touch the billions, but I've wanted to become a speaker and coach my entire life, but never believed in myself. If I knew in my own divinity, I would have been on stage at 5. When this is my path, no regrets. But if I could invite everyone to know, so I used to want to be a speaker and coach that was motivational, raw with my bubbly personality, get on stage and get them going. And Zig Ziglar has said motivation doesn't last, just like bathing doesn't. So after I learned, and it was mostly from Bob Proctor, but I've had many mentors and teachers. Thankfully, I invest a lot in coaching because I think growth is a continuous process, and the unbecoming is a continuous, that chipping away at Michelangelo's David. And I think we not only owe it to ourselves, I really believe we owe it to our communities on a micro level, on a macro level. We owe it to our mankind to actually unbecome so that we can get to be aware of the fullness of who we truly are. So it would be that for precious souls around the globe to find someone who resonates with them in coaching and really start getting curious about yourself. Suzan isn't just saying this to make you feel better. Of course it does feel good. Wow, there's divinity in me. Yeah. To actually know that this isn't just motivation. this is the essence and the core of who we are, who you are, and for everyone to actually feel that in every fiber within them, within every cell within their body, and every molecule. And by doing that, we've become a better version of ourselves to unleash, and our world becomes a much better, happier place, higher consciousness. Does that resonate?
Great. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, it does. I think it's, I hearken back to this notion that we only know ourselves in relation to other people. And so you can, and you can be on your own doing a lot of the work, as you said, no question about it. But there comes a time when you have to go into the world and engage the world, because then you get to really know yourself.
Yes.
You get to really see how people react or respond to what you bring to the table. So I truly appreciate it. Suzan, this has been a wonderful time. I appreciate your time from halfway or almost all the way around the world where you are right now. And I can't thank you enough. I want to wish you all the best in the future, great successes, and thank you so very much for being on the podcast.
John, you're such a delight. Thank you for the service you provide to our one world, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with me. It's just such a delight. You're such a delight and joy, and it's my deepest privilege. I'm humbled to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.